Everyone following the U.S. presidential election is talking about the man they call Joe the Plumber after John McCain and Barack Obama made him famous.
But there's a twist to his story. It turns out Joe the Plumber doesn't have a license. His real name is Sam and is yet to pay last year's state taxes.
Last Sunday, he was plumber Joe Wurzelbacher confronting Barack Obama.
Your new tax plan is going to tax me more, doesn't it?
But by last night, he was Joe the Plumber, small business owner.
Joe the Plumber.
Joe the Plumber told Obama he might buy a business worth $280,000, but is afraid higher taxes will cut into his dream. McCain then used Joe's story to claim Obama will raise taxes for millions of small business owners.
And what you want to do to Joe the Plumber and millions more like him is have their taxes increased.
The fact is, millions will not be hit. An estimated 335,000 small business owners, 2% of the total, would be impacted by Obama's tax increases. According to the Nonpartisan Tax Policy Center, Obama's tax hikes apply only when personal income, not the value of the business, rises above $250,000.
What goes on your income tax form is your profit, not your gross receipt.
So today, Joe, who said he makes much less than $250,000, reluctantly admitted Obama would lower his taxes.
If you believe him, I would be receiving his tax cuts.
But that wasn't it for Joe last night. McCain wanted Obama to say how much he would fine businesses that don't provide health insurance to employees. Obama spoke directly to Joe, claiming there will be no health care fines on small business.
And I'm happy to talk to you, Joe, too, if you're out there. Here's your fine, $0.
This claim is murky because Obama has not defined what he thinks is a small business, meaning there's no way for voters to measure who gets these exemptions. The McCain campaign, meanwhile, likes Joe the Plumber so much, officials began calling him on Tuesday and have asked him to appear at campaign rallies. But Joe's anti-tax leanings are also playing out in his personal life. It turns out he's behind on state taxes. So the man whose personal story steered a presidential debate over taxes owes some $1,200 in back taxes, according to the state of Ohio.
Thousands of protesters blocked traffic in central Bangkok today and accused Thailand's Prime Minister of ordering a violent crackdown on a demonstration in which hundreds were injured. Carrying pictures of a female student who died in rioting last week, the protesters demanded Prime Minister Somchai Wongsawat resign, blaming him for the death. Shoppers stopped to cheer the marchers on. This afternoon, Somchai said he is not going to resign. The protesters accuse him of being a puppet for his brother-in-law, ousted Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who fled the country because of corruption allegations.
Time now for sports with Tim Bradbury.
And plenty of action for us tonight, Tim.
Yes, 2 finalists are confirmed for the Futsal World Cup, plus we've got some tennis and golf news as well. Brazil and Spain booked their places in the FIFA Futsal World Cup final after 2 classic semi-final matches went all the way.
After just 4 minutes, the Brazilians were up and running. Schumacher making no mistakes after the Russians lost possession in midfield. Soon it was 2-0 as Pavel Kobzar generously gave the ball away in the box, and Falcao said, "Thank you very much," as he smashed the ball home. Russia pulled themselves right back into the game 2 minutes before half-time with his long-range effort from Pula that left the keeper looking perplexed. Brazil responded with a goal of their own when Zico set up Vinicius to nod the ball in. 6 minutes into the second half, Russia cut the Brazilian defence apart, with Damir Kamadiev applying the finish. Brazil calmed the home fans' nerves 2 minutes from time when Gabriel's goal made it 4-2 to Brazil and booked them a place in the final. Spain got off to a perfect start. Daniel's spinning shot making it 1-0. In the second half, Adriano Folia beat a total of 5 players before slotting home the equaliser. In extra time, Fernando was given too much space to fire the Iberians into the lead. But Italy had a masterstroke up their sleeve when Grana came out of goal to smash home brilliantly from a distance to make it 2-2. Folia turned from hero to villain when the ball rebounded off his legs and as it drifted towards goal, he could only help it on its way to make it 3-2 with seconds remaining. In tennis news, defending champion David Nalbandian was one of the big-name casualties in the fourth round of the 2008 Madrid Masters. First out on the Pista Central court at the Madrid Arena was Frenchman Gilles Simon and Robbie Ginepri of the USA. Simon saved 2 match points on the way to claiming a narrow and far from convincing win, 6-7, 6-4, 7-6. David Nalbandian saw his participation in the tournament end prematurely after being ousted by Juan Martin Del Potro. The 9th-ranked Del Potro was in total control, winning 6-4, 6-2. In one of the most hotly anticipated clashes of the day, world number 4 Andy Murray took on towering 6'6" Croatian Marin Cilic. The 21-year-old Scotsman dominated the second set and survived the late fight back that saw him squander a 6-2 lead before clinching the match 7-5, 7-6. Recently crowned world number 1 Rafael Nadal had little trouble in disposing of Richard Gasquet in straight sets. Nadal, who needs to at least make the final to retain the number 1 position, won in straight sets 6-4, 6-2. Former world number 1 Roger Federer also progressed to the quarterfinals after beating Jo-Wilfried Tsonga in the first matchup between the two players. The Swiss player lost just 1 game in the second and broke his opponent twice before powering to an impressive 6-4, 6-1 victory. In golf news, Welshman Stuart Manley is the surprise leader of the Portugal Masters with a 1-stroke lead at the Oceanico Victoria golf course. Last year's winner, Steve Webster, had this tee shot at the 13th and endured a roller coaster even par opening round for a lowly share of 47th. The man he beat to the Portugal Masters crown, Robert Carlson, began in more impressive fashion with this birdie putt at the 8th. Jean-Francois Lukin had this long birdie putt at the 13th hole and carded a 67 to gain a share of 5th, 5 under. Graham McDowell found 6 birdies and 11 pars on his way to a 5 under par round, with a bogey at the 17th the only blemish on his otherwise flawless card. Indian golfer Yoti Randhawa, 7-time winner on the Asian Tour, still searching for his maiden win in Europe. Alvaro Quiroz, with his 3rd shot at the 18th, will also begin the second round just 1 stroke off the pace, after also finishing 6 under par for the day. England's Mark Foster, who took this birdie putt on the second, 1 of 7 birdies, didn't drop a shot all day.
All right, thanks, Tim, for the sports. Finally tonight, for the last few weeks, we've been bringing you nothing but bad news because of the global financial meltdown.
All right, while it may seem impossible to escape the grim reality, many people are finding solace in virtual reality, where economic recession simply doesn't exist. ATV's Eddie Lee reports.
There is no escaping the current financial doom and gloom that's being splashed across television screens all over the world. Or is there? While not everyone can afford to treat themselves to luxurious spas, banquets and golf outings like some Wall Street executives, there are cheaper alternative realities to escape to. Video games.
You know, they want to be entertained, to forget about all the depression out there.
They say that video games are essentially a recession-proof product, kind of like maybe movies were during the Great Depression where people still wanted to be entertained.
The video game industry made $10 billion last year, and it's expected to grow to $14 billion a year by 2012. Many punters favor gaming over other entertainments because they calculate the value by the hours they get from it.
They get more use out of the game because they use it many more times. The movie is, 2 hours and it's finished.
Going out with your friends and at a bar, can get expensive. Like for Long Island iced tea over here is like $14, and you get a game for $20. That'll last you, instead of just one night, a bunch of nights or even a month.
So while people are fearing the worst ahead and penny pinching, many are willing to sacrifice a few bucks to forget about all their troubles in the real world. Eddie Lee, ATV News.
Let's all play video games then.
Escape.
And that's our main news for Friday night. We'll have an update in 1 hour. I'm Yondan Latu.
I'm Tim Bradbury.
And I'm Anne-Marie Sim. The weather report is next with Vivian Tang. Thanks for watching ATV. Have a great weekend. Good night.
Good night.